Hey y'all, hey listen up. Your weaknesses and your flaws are your greatest strengths. Embrace them. Embrace you. So can I get vulnerable with you for a few minutes? Just real authentic. Listen, I have struggled with my differentness since I was young. I grew up trying to change things that made me different in order to fit in. At home, my parents, they were doing their best to raise us kids, which I can imagine was not an easy feat, especially with me. Anybody that knows me, that was not easy. But parenting's never easy anyway. You know, I can still remember the first time that I asked myself, what is wrong with me? I'm sure my parents asked that many times, but trying to change these things, though, were a big part of what was created inner conflict in me. And I became ashamed of the things that made me different. I was shy by nature, but I didn't like me that way. I wanted to be accepted. I loved lots of time on my own, but as a kid, I wanted to be accepted to avoid judgment and rejection. You know, during school, the other kids, they teased me, made fun of me for not having as many friends as they did. You know, I felt really hurt by that and alone at times. And then, so I started this constant battle within myself to change my differentness. Okay? I forced myself to be more social. I stopped giving myself the alone time that I wanted. You know, I stopped expressing how I was feeling. I set out to build a life of being known. And I achieved that. I achieved public figure status in my life because of my writing and my speaking endeavors and publicized gatherings and all this kind of stuff. All along, I really just wanted to hide from all of that. You know, it caused me a great deal of anxiety. You know, this went on for probably 30 years of my life, at least. And since I spent my whole life trying to fit in, I never really got to know my true self. It was incredibly exhausting, y'all, and I was very unhappy. I finally discovered in the past year or so some things that empowered me to embrace my differences. I was amazed at the life-changing effect it had on me, okay? So, when you embrace who you are, let me share some of these things with you. Number one, you stop living in fear. The choices I make in my life are no longer dependent on what other people are going to think and whether I'm going to be judged or disliked or rejected. I just focus on being me. You know, in the past, I feared what people would think of me for choosing to have just a few friends instead of this huge social circle, and spending a lot of time on my own. Now that I accept that this is me, I feel a sense of freedom. Trying to be someone that you're not, it's exhausting, y'all. Be your true self. When you do that, it's courageous. And in a world that's constantly trying to change you, you become a trailblazer. When you realize that living the life you want is more important than pleasing other people, suddenly you feel free. Number two is that you form deeper, more connected relationships. And in the past, I've had my fair share of not so good relationships, really. People would connect to the fake me, so they were never genuine relationships. And I was able to sift through these relationships by loving my differences and being myself. And this allowed the right people to come into my life who love the real me. Amen? You know, my relationships are now all fulfilling and genuine. Hence, Kelly came along. If you want people to accept you for who you are, you first have to show them who you are, who that is. Next one is that you need to treat yourself more kindly. You know, I saw myself as weird, so I would constantly put myself down, beat myself up. You know, the negative self-talk, it was painful. And in accepting my weirdness, I went from telling myself, because of my differences, I'm worthless and no one will ever love me, to, I have to be true to myself. The people who really matter will accept me for who I am. Complete 180 change. It was so liberating. I started to feel the happiest I've ever felt. And the next thing is that you're better able to find your passion. When hiding your true self you could never know your strengths, okay? I'm a compassionate person, which makes me pretty decent at helping people, okay? And I found that this is what I love to do. And it's my passion to help people. After learning this about myself and really embracing it, I was able to offer my friends and family advice when they needed help. I also branched out and I started writing and video blogging, they call it vlogging, which is my main creative outlet these days, where I can combine my passion for writing and helping people. Amen? So once you allow yourself to be who you are, you're free to find what you're good at and what you love to do. Number 5 is that you start appreciating yourself. And when you truly embrace your differences, you begin to find reasons to appreciate them. You know, I've always been ashamed of my introverted nature. It's just what it is. I thought it was a weakness. And only recently have I really started to embrace that. I now appreciate that it allows me to enjoy time on my own, which is where I'm the most creative. You know, I don't have to constantly be seeking out people's company. And I've discovered my strengths and my weaknesses in this. I own them, and I'm grateful for them, both because they make me who I am, okay? And when you start seeing your weaknesses as potential strengths, you develop a whole new sense of appreciation for yourself. Hey, as always, you all take care of yourselves and others. Kelly and I, we love you to the moon and back. Peace out.